All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my webinar about TV trades. Now, I tend to have, I tend to talk too fast, and I get going talking too fast. We have about 55 minutes to get this webinar in, so that should be plenty of time to go over everything that I have to go over. Now, this is really a simple tool and a simple process, and the whole idea is that you don't have to really make any decisions. I see a lot of the guys that are using it now. You're using it with other stuff on the charts, and that's fine. If that's if that improves your edge, that's great. But this was basically created. Number one, it was created for equities. I didn't really want to be pigeonholed into just doing futures, like we've been for the last 15 years, or at least it looks like we've been pigeonholed to just doing futures for the last 15 years. You could have done everything that we've been doing for 15 years on anything, but I really wanted to make this outside of that box so you can use it on anything, any kind of market that you want to use it on at all. And that's pretty much what we have. We're able to use it on anything, and I'll show you. I'll go through a bunch of different things, and we'll go through all that. But the idea was to make it so that you don't have to know how to do anything. Well, okay, that's wrong. You have to know how to place a trade. And possibly how to set up a stop, how to put on a target, those kind of things, those kind of basic things. And I should do a video on all that too. But I'm just gonna say that if you're here, you understand how to put a trade on. Okay, and if you don't, then that's just talk to me about that, and we can work that out. Now, one of the other things about TV trades is it's not going to be, I'm not going to have a room where I do something every day like I do with Trading IQ and all that. It's not going to be that sort of thing. You're going to get access to it, and you're going to use it on whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want. And if you have questions, you can email them in to support@targetviewtrades.com. Okay, email them to support@targetviewtrades.com. Don't email them into the CFRN.net emails or my Trading IQ emails. Okay, support@targetviewtrades.com is where you email questions. Okay. I know a lot of the people that are in here are people that have been with me for over a decade, and some of you guys are already using it. Some of you guys are not using it yet. And for everybody that is using it, so far the feedback I'm getting is very good. And every now and then we'll have somebody who's using it who gets a little hung up at the beginning, and there's just a few little tweaks that people need to do to understand what they're looking at. All right, so the system is really based on you being able to just use it and function on your own. All right, it gives you everything you need. It gives you the entry, it gives you the stop, it gives you the targets. I'll show you something else. Now, Mike R., you had asked me about this last week, and I told you I had created something. The question was, when do you move your stop to break even? Is it the same thing that we do in the morning? And the answer is no, it's not, because the stop's not in the same place. So I'll get into that in just a few minutes. Okay, how to deal with all that kind of stuff, and I'll show you some things that I had created in the past, and I haven't really put into what we're doing yet, because really I was trying to keep it as simple as possible. Does anybody have any questions about anything that they've used up to this point, or anything they've seen up to this point? Really the whole thing is so that you guys will be able to just get in there and apply it to your charts and not have any questions. All right, so let's just get into it. All right, this is the website, and in here on the website I created a bunch of different things that over the past week, I actually made some changes over the past week or two that you guys have seen in the other stuff with the alerts. I put new videos in here for the instructions. This I just created last night, this video, if you want to watch that. That's how to get stuff working, and it's a lot of the things I'm going to go over right now. The alerts, right in here, I created that one last night. That's got all the current alert stuff. So if the stuff that I tell you right now, if you want to see it again, it's going to be in these videos right here. If you don't have TradingView charts, and you need to have TradingView charts to do this, okay? If you don't have TradingView charts yet, you need to go here, go to targetviewtrades.com, getting charts. Just click on this. This goes directly to the TradingView website. Okay, it just goes right here to tradingview.com pricing. Now, what I'm going to suggest to you is go to the monthly on this and pay for whatever you're going to pay for monthly. If you want to do the free one, you can do the free one too. But if you're going to pay for one of these, start out with the essential. If you really, if you want to, if you're not going to do more than 2 markets, start out with the essential. And the thing about this, guys, is once you have the essentials, it's 2 markets that you can look at once. But you can set, how many alerts can you set at once? You can set 20 alerts at once. And these alerts, they persist. And what I mean by that is, I could have an alert, like over here right now. I'm looking, this is the QQQ 30-minute chart that I'm looking at. And I have an NVDA alert right here. I'm not even looking at the NVIDIA thing, and it's going to keep that alert. I could get completely off of all these charts, and it would still keep that alert for me. Okay, so the alerts persist. So when it comes to actually signing up for the charts, if you get this one, it's $14.95 a month. If you're trading futures, you're gonna have to pay for data for the futures. It's $7.60 a month, $7.60 a month for the CME group futures. That's all you need is a CME group for the futures. $7.60 a month for that. But that's all you need if you're trading, 2 charts. If you want to just have 2 charts, but again, you can have technical alerts on a whole bunch of different things. Like if you pay the $30, you can have up to 100 different alerts going at once. And if you do this, you can have 20 alerts, and that's more than enough for most people. And you can set different alerts for different time frames for the same market. You can, there's a whole bunch of different things you can do. Now, I suggest going with the monthly on this only because a few times a year they have an annual sale, and the annual sale is really good. It's like, depending on what level you get at, like the premium is usually like 70% off. So they actually make the plus and the premium like $1 different. So they really want to get in the premium because at the end of the year when they re-up you at the regular price, the premium's like $200 more or something like that. But it really is a great deal when they do it. So I would sign up for the monthly until they do that. They usually do it toward the end of the year. I think they do it once in the summer and then once like toward the end of the year, Halloween or Thanksgiving, something like that. But you gotta have TradingView charts to do this, okay? Now, in here, let's just put that down. This is what the chart looks like, right? When you get a chart, actually, when you first sign up, you probably just get an Apple chart. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, like this, right? And this is what the charts look like with nothing on them, right? There's no indicators at all on here, and we'll just shut that off. So you don't have anything on your chart. You just have a time frame, you have a symbol, and a time frame. Now, usually, by default, if you're just signing up, Apple is the default chart that they have, and so this is what Apple looks like. All right, Apple on a 30-minute. I think they have Apple on a daily, is how they do it by default when you sign up. It looks like this, right? And they have a volume indicator by default on there, but we don't have anything here. I took off the volume indicator, and this is what it'll look like. Now, to apply the TV trades, it's as simple as this. Once you have given me your login ID, and your login ID, guys, when you hover over this thing right here, it says logged in as TV trades for me. For you, it might be just a letter or a number. It might not have your picture. Probably be a letter, like your initial or something like that. It says logged in as something. Whatever you are logged in as is what you need to give to me. Okay? When you give that to me, I know there's one fellow who signed up for the trial just the other day, and he still hasn't given it to me. And, well, he still hasn't given it to me, and he's been with us for a long time. But anyway, you gotta give me what you're logged in as, alright? You give that to me and then I can enable it for you. Before you give that to me, when you go in here, you're not gonna have this invite only section. You won't have that. Alright, but once you give that to me, you give me the invite only section, then you will have, you get the invite only section, you'll have the TV trades in it. And unless you're with us in like Trading IQ, then you'll have the slingshot and the other stuff that you get there too. But you'll have the TV trades down here. Now to apply it, all you have to do is click it one time. But before I do that, let me show you something. You see this over here? You can read more about the indicator. On all the indicators, you can do that. On all these things, you can read more about them if you want to. Okay, like the ultimate slingshot. When I created that, I put all these notes in here about what it does, all that. They all have something like that. The TV trades also has it. I think I put a lot of junk in here about the TV trades, like the idea behind it and all that. And these are all the releases that I've recently done, okay, in the TV trades. So if you want to see the latest information about that, or if I tell you I've done an upgrade or an update, that's where you're going to find it. So to actually apply it to your chart, just click it one time, and it goes on the chart. This is what it looks like by default, and this is what it looks like for Apple by default. Now, you see how this is blue? The arrow, the actual arrow is blue. It's a change from the way the arrows were. You know, in the past, the arrows were squares down here that didn't move with price, and I know the blue on blue with the blue bars and stuff like that makes it kind of hard to see. If you want to change that, you have the ability to go in there and change all this stuff. You can go in here to style, and you know, something that really jumps off the chart if you change it to like black. Okay, change it to black like that, and change that to black. Change that to black. You can make it whatever you want that's going to jump off the chart, but see, then the arrows are right there. They're easy to see. Right, that was something that I encountered. But by default, this is what it looks like. All right, you have your entry, your stop. Your stop, if you're looking at a stock like this, like Apple, your stop is going to be in dollars and cents. That's what those are, dollar signs right there. It's going to be dollars and cents. If you're looking at something like the NQ, your stop's going to be in points. If you're looking at something on the ES, your stop's going to be in points. YM, all that, it's going to be in points. All right, not ticks, points. Okay, and it gives you 3 targets by default, and it sticks it in the middle by default, and on longs it makes it green, on black by default, and it makes it this size by default. You can change all that stuff if you want to. Okay, I'll get into the changing it in a little while, but let's get into what it actually displays first. Okay, when you get a thing like this, this is going to display the last arrow, the information from the last arrow. Alright, and this is on a daily chart right now, but if you want to break it down to something like a 30-minute chart, you know, I have no idea what Apple's going to look like here, but we'll break it down to a 30-minute chart. Okay, this was the last trade right here that it generated on the 2nd of May on Apple, was here. And since your stop's 88 cents, your first target is 176.03, and your entry point is 172.34. So, you know, just doing the math in your head, you're risking less than $1 to make potentially about $4. So that's a pretty good risk-reward ratio. If you want to see what the risk-reward ratio is for each trade, we have that in here too. All you have to do is turn it on. It's right here in inputs. You just hit show reward risk. Now it does reward risk, not risk reward. Reward risk, because it's a reward over the risk. And you see it's 4.19. So let me explain what that is. What that is showing is the difference between the entry and the first target over the difference between the entry and the stop. Okay, so in this case it was something over 88 cents, and you want this to be, you know, usually want it to be 1 or greater. Sometimes it's going to be pretty close to 1, a little bit under 1. That's not, you know, that's not bad. Remember, what it's looking at is the first target. Okay, and I know in here it's, you know, it's just showing you the targets here, like 176.03, 178.35, and 178.67. Those are default 3 targets to begin with, and what the heck? Those are default 3 targets to begin with, and you can look at more of them right here. You go into number of targets right here, and you can look up to 5 if you want to. All right, it'll list out even more targets. So you see these at 183.92, 182.57. And I know you're going to be looking over here on the side to find that, but you don't have to actually do that either. You can just click on this and do show target lines on chart. And what that'll do is stick these target lines on the chart. So this was your first target, second target, third target, fourth target, fifth target. So this one here hit all those targets. And this is Apple. I had no idea what Apple was doing, but this is just Apple. You know, I was set to show you NVDA. But that's all the stuff that's displayed in here for you. And because this is still just what happens when you first put it on, you know, when you first put it on, all that it's showing is this. Okay, you see how it says possible long soon right here? Now, up until last week, that possible long soon used to be right here on top of price. All right, and for somebody that's watching like a 6-hour chart, or a 200 range chart or something like that, that's going to sit right there on price for a long time. And that can be kind of annoying. So I just made it move over 25 bars to the left. And you actually have this thing right here. This is new too, where you can hide it if you want. Okay, and it'll go away. But by default, this is what it looks like when you turn it on. And if you want to see the risk reward in there, put it like that. It's going to have just 3 targets by default. If you want to change all of this stuff, you want to put, like your text color on top of black, yellow really pops. Right? If you want to see something like that. And I put the ability in here to change the text size and all that. You can make it smaller if you want. You can make it bigger if you want. Bigger if you want. That's the only size adjustment that you can get on the table. Okay? But this is what it looks like by default. So also by default, it does not show shorts. All right, it only shows longs because, like I said earlier, this whole thing was designed for equities to begin with, and most people aren't going to be shorting equities. They're just going to be looking for long opportunities on equities. So it does that by default. Now, any questions? Anybody yet? Okay. If I start talking too fast, let me know. I only have 40 minutes left because I think they're going to cut me off after an hour. So I have 40 minutes left, so I'm going to try to get all this done in here in 40 minutes. So with this, the whole idea is that you don't need anything else on the chart. All right? You don't need to see anything else because when you see other things, it makes you second guess things. It makes you second guess your decision. If you say, well, I'm only going to take trades that are above, this moving average or something like that. I built that in for you. If you want to use it, I built that in for you. But I'll get to that in a few minutes. So right now, I just want to show you all of this stuff. What you can do in here, you can change all this. You can change the background. If you have a black background, if you like to have a black background, like some of you guys I know do, you can change the table background in here to be right here. Change the table background to be white. Now, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to change the text color to be black, probably. Okay, so it looks like that instead. You're probably going to want to change those text colors too. But you have all that. You have the ability to do all that stuff in there if you want to. Okay. The pivot labels, I'll just go over that really quick. These pivot labels, when they draw, these are where the targets come from. All right. If you want to actually see where the targets come from, these are where the targets come from. The targets are coming from the prior swings, high and low, and they go back a really long way. And let me explain that to you too. When it's searching back a really long way. And depending what level of trading view you have, it may search back beyond the allowed amount of data that you get. So if that happens to you, it's going to give you an exclamation point right here. It's going to say data timed out. If you get that, if it happens to say data timed out, click on these 3 dots, go to settings, and down here at the bottom, just subtract like 500 from this. Okay. And that'll take care of it. Or keep subtracting numbers until it gets better, but do it like 500 at a time, because you're looking at 4,500 bars back is what that's saying. And depending what time frame you're in, 4,500 bars could bring you back into 2012. Okay. No questions in here yet. Not yet. So I'm just going to keep going. All right. The stuff that I wanted to show you, I wanted to explain to you this. Now, if you put the shorts on, now the shorts, it's not really made up for shorts, but if you do put shorts on, and I don't know what it's going to look like with Apple because well, I wasn't really planning on showing you Apple, but yeah, you see this right here. You get some of these things right here. You get one going the other way, right back and forth. Now, what I told you earlier, I created this thing, mostly this piece of it right here, the piece that I'm going to show you. It even says it right here. If you hover over these things, they tell you what each one of these things are about. I try to put a pretty good explanation on each one of them, so when you hover over it, you'll understand what it's for. All right. Now, you get something like this when it's trying to reverse trend on you, okay? And what I said earlier, you don't need to have anything on the chart, and if you do have anything on the chart, it might make you second guess your trades. But if you go in here, and let's just do this, we'll put a moving average on here, a simple moving average, okay? And that's going to put it on here. It's going to be a 9, I think, by default. But let's make this a 233, okay? So now you got a 233 moving average, and if you only want to look at longs above the 233 moving average, or you only want to look at shorts below the 233 closes above the 233, or look at shorts on closes below the 233, or maybe even not even a 233. You know, you might want to look at something bigger or smaller. You know, what's 377? That's another fib number, right? 233 is a fib number. That's why I was just doing that. I think 377 is a fib number. Or is it 344? Can't remember. Let me do the math in my head. I don't feel like doing the math in my head. Anyway, we'll just leave it at 377, and we'll say okay. That's what the simple moving average is. So in here, what you have is the ability to actually set this up. So it's only going to show you longs above that. What did I say it was at 377? So I'm going to show you longs above it and shorts below it. Okay. So right now, if we click this, then, well, it should have taken some of the arrows out. Well, you can't really see them all. Okay. But you shouldn't have things that are going back and forth. You know, you're only going to get it when it's right on top of the line. You're going to get things going back and forth. But when it's below it, you should only get shorts, and when it's above it, you should only get longs. Okay, every now and then you're going to get something like this where it's right on top of the line. But, you know, if you make that a smaller number like 144, I think that's the other fib number right there. Make it a smaller number like that. Did I do it on the right thing? I did, I made that 144. Yeah. That should get rid of some things right in here. What the heck is going on with that? If you make this a 144. Okay. So in here right now, you should only get longs above it and shorts below it. It is right on the line right there. That's why it's doing it. It's right on the line. That's why it's still showing both of those. But anyway, you're only going to get longs when it's above it and shorts when it's below it. And what you have going in here is going to be what happened on the last bar. Alright, so with a 30-minute chart, you can do a replay on this. If you want to see what it looks like bar by bar, you can do a replay on this. And like this particular case right here, we'll do 1 bar per second. Alright, so you see over here it's going to start doing 1 bar per second. And then, give it a minute. It should tell you, well, right there. Oh, I have it shut off, I think. Did I shut that thing off? I think I did, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Sorry about that. It would have given you the warning right there on this bar right here. Actually, on this bar right here, it would have given you a warning. It would have given you another warning right here that a trade was coming. And that's the beauty of it, is it'll let you know ahead of time if a trade is coming. Most of the time, it doesn't do it all the time, but it'll let you know ahead of time when a trade is going to trigger. You know, usually a bar right there. Did you see it right there? Just impossible long soon. It lets you know ahead of time when a trade is going to trigger, and depending how you set up your alerts, that's a whole other issue. Now I'm going to show you that in a minute too. Depending how you set up your alerts, and I know this is a thing for a lot of people who are using it right now. You don't understand the alerts and how to set them up, and that's okay. I'm going to cover it right now. You'll be able to see that kind of information like right in here. See, this is an alert that I have set up. I don't have another alert set up right now, but if we go to, let me go to a different chart. Let's make this, what time is it? 3:23. Let's make this an NQ. And we'll make it, put it in an NQ, and we'll make it like a, I don't know, make it something pretty fast right now. Make it a 7 range NQ. That's going to be really fast. So now, let me get rid of those pivots. We don't really want to see those. Alright, you don't need to see those. And if you want to set up an alert on this, you go in here and you click on alerts. Now this right here, I want you to focus on this more than this. Alright. When you set the alert, there's a couple of different ways to do it. Let me show you that again. Hang on, let me go to 30-minute here so it's not distracting. You go to TV trades. Get rid of the simple moving average because we don't need that anymore. You go to TV trades and you click on these 3 dots right here. Right, that says more. Then you go add alerts right here. Alright, add alerts right here. And then in here, this is what it has by default. Any alert function call. Alright, that means it's gonna, anytime you have an alert, whether it's a long alert or short alert, anything that's in there is gonna trigger. Whether it's a warning or like this is a warning right here, it's gonna trigger and it's gonna let you know that you have an alert or you have a potential alert. Now, if you want to be more specific, you can go in here like this, click on that, and choose. If you just want buy alerts, click buy alert. This is very important right here. Click once per bar close. All right, once per bar close. Now, you don't have to put any more information in here. You can, but you don't have to. In here, you can put the time frame, that you're in or something like that, but you're going to get all that information right over here. I mean, it's a little harder to see right here, but you could put right here, what is this? NQ, and what is it? 7 range. 7 range. You can put that information right there, and it'll say buy condition met. So this is going to give you an alert once per bar close, whenever one happens. Now, there's a few different ways that you can do this. It used to have a thing down here that was really, really cool and simple. Did I do back to see which time frame works best with TV trades? All time frames work great, Tanya. It depends what you're looking at. I didn't go back and do that because I'm talking about all the stocks, like 1,700 different stocks, and you can do it on equities, you can do it on futures, you can do it on forex, you can do it on everything. So I didn't go back to try to find out what time frame works best. It depends what you're looking at, how much money you want to risk, stuff like that. So that's now, and I'll cover that with you in a minute, okay? But in here, the way that it used to have down here, you would send yourself an SMS message. You just check that box, and whatever you had set for your phone number, it would send you a text message at that phone number, send you an SMS message. They changed that about a month ago, so it doesn't do that anymore. But this is just as good. If you put the app on your phone, and you click notify in the app, you just got to have the app running on your phone. And it'll send these same messages that you're seeing right here to your phone. Okay, now this alert log, it always posts to the alert log. It'll always post there to the alert log. But if you want to have it show a pop-up over here on the screen, now it'll pop up over there on the screen. If you want to have it send you an email, you can have it send you an email. If you want to have it make a sound, you can do that. You guys were listening to my sounds all week. You probably didn't hear that. But, let me see if I can do that again. Did you hear that? I don't know. But you can have it play a sound if you want to, and all that. So I'm just going to hit create on this, right? Create on this, and we'll probably see. I have it notifying an app. You won't be able to see that, but you'll see the pop-up, and you won't really hear the sound, but I'll hear it. When I go back here to a 7 range on this, the 30 minutes not going to trigger anything. But if I go to the 7 range, then with the NQ, we're probably going to see a trade here pretty soon. It's in the red right now, so the next trade that it's probably going to trigger will be a long trade. Okay, if we go in here, we have all this stuff set in here, so when it does trigger another trade, it'll probably be a long trade. Could be a short trade. It hasn't triggered a short trade, well, since way back here. Now, when you're using range bars, another thing that I need to point out, when you're using range bars, it does not work intra-bar. You're not going to get indications intra-bar, okay? But if you're using minute bars or any kind of time-based bar or anything that goes down to 0, other than range bars and like momentum bars, it doesn't work intra-bar. It only works on bar close. So that goes back here to add alerts on TV trades. When you choose an alert in here, you want to make sure you do once on bar close, all right? Because if you're doing it on like a minute chart or a 5-minute chart, it might meet the requirement to trigger the trade while the bar is active, intra-bar, and it'll start knocking these alerts off over and over and over again, and maybe not even close in the right direction, and it'll finally trigger the alert. So you really only want to do that once per bar. Okay, you want it to actually trigger when it's done. You can, if you're going to pay attention to it, and you can watch it, then that's okay to have, because then you'll see the thing start as it starts to get to the point, so it'll let you know, that the trade's imminent. It'll let you know that information. Okay, how much time do I have left? 26 minutes. All right. So the best time frame. That's a fair question. Now, this is the NQ. Those of you guys who know me know I like to trade the NQ on a 15 range when I'm in the room in the morning, and I do that because it's 1 less than a multiple of 4, and it keeps the risk pretty small. But if you're talking about equities, then you're going to be talking about, could be talking about different time frames. If we go here to this, we have CrowdStrike right here, and this is on a 30-minute. Is 30-minute the best for this? Well, I don't know. It depends how long I have to sit around and wait for a trade. You can set everything up on here, so it'll send you your alerts and do all that stuff. You can do all this stuff on here, so you have everything all set up to send you the information. But it's a 30-minute chart, so the good thing about it is you get notified ahead of time when a trade is setting up. The other thing about it is the bigger the time frame, the bigger the risk is going to be. This is $2.79 from the last trade setup was right here. Right, that was the last long, and the risk on that was $2.79. And the first target, well, it was 1.94 times 2.79. So it was just about $6 difference from the entry point to the target. Okay. See, the NQ just gave us a long right in here. I guess it gave us a long. That's on a 30-minute. Okay, that's a whole different thing. Sorry, that's a different one that is coming from there. What is recommended time frame for the ES? Okay, well, if you're trading the ES like I do, then I use a 7-tick range because I only like to have $100, well, $125 risk. I like to have a 10-tick stop. Okay, so if you were looking at the ES, let me change this to the ES, right? If you're looking at the ES, I would look at this on a 7 range like this. Okay, and when you're looking at futures, you're going to want to have the shorts and the longs going. You're probably going to want to have the bias level on. And then you have your indications in here, all right? That way your stop with this, the stop that I would use with the 7-tick range on the ES is a 10-tick stop, okay? That's what I use. So you want my favorite time frame? That's what I use when I'm trading the ES. I use a 7-tick range with a 10-tick stop, okay? But not everybody trades like me. If you want to have a bigger stop in fewer trades, then you're just going to have to adjust for that. The way that I typically do it is like you take the bar size. If you're using range bars, you take the bar size and you add another 50% of the bar size, roughly. All right. So if you're on like a 10 range, you'd have a 15 stop, something like that. Okay. All right. Hang on. Actually, should we update your targets if you're using this for ES futures? You don't have to update the targets. The targets take care of themselves. You don't have to update targets. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Ashley. But when you're using it here for futures, that's how I do it. When I trade futures, I mean, most of you guys know, you've traded with me in the morning, and you've been trading with me for years, so you understand what I'm talking about. All right, I use a 10-tick stop with a 7-tick range in the morning, and that works for me in the morning. In the time frame that I have to trade and all the stuff that I'm doing in the morning, that works for me. Now, if that's too fast for you, just slow it down, make it a bigger time frame. You're gonna have more risk. It's not gonna be $125 per contract anymore. It's gonna be something bigger, some bigger number. Oh, you meant how far back? Should you update your targets if using this for? No, it'll do it on its own. You don't really have to do that. It's gonna look, the bigger the time frame, the farther it's gonna have to look back for targets. All right, the smaller the time frame, the more recent the swing highs and lows are going to be. Like I don't know if you were there actually when I said this earlier, when I put this thing on here earlier. If you draw the pivot labels like this is where it gets the targets from. When it draws it, okay, all of these are where it gets the targets from. Okay, so if you have a smaller time frame, it's going to have it's going to have to look back less to find the targets. And if you have a larger time frame, well, then it's going to have to look way back to find targets, and that's where it times out every now and then. All right, let me explain that again to you in case anybody's coming on right now that wasn't here a little while ago. Every now and then, when it's looking back, it's going to be looking back for more and more targets, all right? And it might time out. You'll get a thing up here, get an exclamation point, and all the things will go off the chart. You have an exclamation point right here that says data timed out. If that happens to you, go in here and go down to the bottom. This look back number right here, just decrease this number. Decrease it by like 500 at a time until everything comes back on. Okay. It doesn't happen very often, but if it does happen to you, that's all you have to do. Okay, just decrease that number by 500. And it'll probably come right back on for you. But anyway, I mean, I wanted to show you guys all this stuff to see. I wanted you to see how simple it is to use and how good it is. I mean, it's, like we're just randomly going through things here. And you can see I had a great trade right here that pushed all the way down to here. And the last one before that was a long trade right here that pushed all the way up to there. And before that was a long trade here that pushed up to there. And before that was a long trade here that pushed up to there. And before that was a long trade here that pushed up to there. And I mean, that's like a whole day's worth of trading right there. Every one of those trades was a good trade. And every one of those trades gives you a stop and it gives you a target. And let me explain how the stops work too, so you understand. It's not the same as it is in the morning. Okay, it's not the same as it is in the morning, where the stops depend on what time frame you use. That's not how the stops get determined here. All right, when you enter a trade, because you might be looking at a minute bar, a half an hour bar, a day bar, a week bar, whatever it is, it looks at the bar prior to it, and it says, all right, the stop is going to be from your entry point to the high of the previous bar if you're shorting, or to the low of the previous bar if you're going long. That's how it looks at it. All right. So like this one right here, your stop is going to be right here. All right, your stop's going to be right here. It's a little bit lower than that bar. It's going to be right there. This one right here, your entry point's going to be down here. Your stop's going to be right up here. Okay, that's how the stops work. Now, one of the questions that I got from one of the guys was from like, was when do you move your stop to break even? Because it's not the same exact stop as, usually when you have the exact same stop, like the stuff I do in the morning, I have the exact same stop all the time, so it's, everything is just mechanical. With this, it's not the same. So, and this is kind of complicated the way I'm going to have to explain it to you, but if it goes 50% of the stop in profit, then move to break even. All right? Think about that. Think about it for a minute, okay? If it goes 50% of the stop into profit, move the stop to break even. All right. Now that's a lot of math for you to do, and I really hate for you to have to do that. So really, just look at where the stop is, and it's usually going to be about 50% of the bar length that you're in. If it goes that much into profit, move your stop to break even. All right. Now that's, I created this thing right here. Mike R, if you're watching right now, see this right here? Break even value right here. I created this thing a while back that says when to move your stop to break even, where the stop is, how big the stop is, and how much it has to move it to break even. Now I haven't put that in for you yet. All right, I know I haven't put that in for everybody to use yet. That's a lot of information. That's a lot of information for me to just throw out there, and I'm trying to make this as simple as I can. But that's a lot of information. I mean, all this is, when I first started this, I only had 3 things up here, 3 or 4 things. I had 4 things up here when I first started this. Show arrow for buying opportunities, show arrow for selling opportunities, show warning for long opportunities, show warning for short opportunities. That's all I had. But then, as things always do with me, it evolved, and I kept wanting to make it better and better and better and better and better, and I'm still going to. But things like that, that's one thing. And look, there's another thing that, and this goes to Robert out in Wisconsin, who's trading on a 200 tick chart, and he ended up missing an opportunity yesterday that didn't give him the entry right at the color change, and he was wondering if we could have something else that might get you in a trade if the color change doesn't, like this one right here where the color change didn't get you into it. This right here, it's called the mid-trend trade. That would have got you into it. All right, or if you have a pullback after the trade begins and it moves up, and you get out of it, do you have to wait until you get another one? No, I have this mid-trend trade thing that I'm working on that gives you other entries that you can take in the middle of a trend. So I got a lot of things that I'm working on that are going to make this better for you, but I really want to get it out there and get you guys using it the way that it is before I start throwing things in there, because I mean, most of you guys have been with me for a long time, and I have a tendency to just keep doing my best to make things better. Enrico said, if you're using preset stops on your DOM, make sure you turn them off before you're using this chart. because if you don't, you get your stop hit a lot. Yeah, if you're using things that automatically bump your stop to break even, it's not the same process with this. Okay, if you're used to using something that automatically bumps your stop to break even, like I do, no, I don't actually do that, but I know a lot of you guys do when it hits the break even point in the morning. You're gonna want to shut that off and do it manually. All right. Now, let me show you really quick how to set. This is the DOM that I use. You guys all know the DOM that I use, and how to set it up to make it do it manually. First, you got to go in here, click on this thing, and for those of you guys that have an account like Daniels or StoneX, this is how you do it. Show the break even button. Okay, you should have to show the break even button on. Set up a strategy. Go in here to configure, and this is what my strategies look like. You only need to worry about stuff down to bracket 2. Right? So I have 17 contracts on because I worked my way up to 17 contracts. This is what my initial stop on profit target is. Right? I have a 30-tick profit target on every trade. This right here is the initial stop. Hang on a second. This right here is the initial stop. And this is the thing that you would normally have set to like 4 or 8 or something like that, where it's automatically going to bump the stop to break even. I set this to 500 because I never want that to happen. And this is how far it has to move once it does hit that. Now, these two things don't matter to me. You got to set this to trailing stop and set this to once, right? The trailing mode to once and this to trailing stop. These two things don't matter to me. You got to set those, and I want them never to happen, all right? Because I hit the break even button when it's ready. That's how I set it up. So you'll see this in the video in the future. That's how I set it up, okay? Now. All right, so I just want to go through some other things in here. Now this was CrowdStrike is what it was originally, but if we bring this down and we look at this, I want to go over, and this was Apple, whatever it started. It was NVDA to begin with, and now it's something else. We still haven't hit the alert here, or it hasn't hit this alert that we created right here, has it? No, it hasn't hit any alert yet for us. Anyway, I digress. What I want to do next, let's go here to 3 of these. Okay, 3 of these. This is the NQ. We've already gone through the NQ, so we can skip past the NQ. We'll go to 4 of these and see what's on this one. XOM. This one here, this is, we have one of our partners that trades XOM every day, and he does it on a 15 range chart. And usually he takes a trade at the open. And he said the other day, 92% of the time, when he takes a trade at the open, it makes him money. And this is a stock you can buy options on. So if you were to take a trade at the open, you were going to buy options. You could take a trade at the open, buy some calls. Usually makes $1 or so every day at the open. Just something to consider. Okay, you can trade options with this. This is on a 15 range chart, but if you want to put it on like a 30-minute chart, and you want to buy calls or puts based upon this information, that is something you can absolutely do. And this is using XOM, this is using a stock. If you want to do that with other things, like if we go over one more, what do we have on the next one? The next one is the NQ again. I don't know why I have that there so many times. And the next one, I believe, is the QQQ. So if we look at the QQQ, here it is with nothing on it. But if we throw, is that the right TV trades? No, this one. If we throw this on it, when the QQQ on a 30-minute gives you a long trade, a long opportunity, you can buy some call options then, looking to get rid of them when it moves up. You have your targets in here, and on the 30-minute, it's going to put the targets pretty far out there. You can put your risk reward on here to see what the risk reward looks like between your first target. Risk reward's 1.6, so getting to the first target is pretty likely. And if we put the lines on it, show the lines on it like that. Okay. So there you go. Your first target's right here. The second target's there, and the third target is, I don't know what the third target is. Do we have 3 targets? 430, 376. Oh, these two are right on top of each other. These two right here. Let me scroll up and see. On gold, no, I use range bars on gold too. you know, I use a 7 range bar on gold as well with a 10 stop. Okay, when I trade gold. We can look at gold if you want right now. Let me go back to that other NQ chart. We'll look at gold on that other NQ chart. Okay, it's this one right here. You can look at GC. I don't know what it looks like today, but and we should be on the M contract right now, I think, still, right? Probably. Look at that on a 7 range. Okay, and we'll put longs and shorts on. Longs and shorts. We'll throw the bias level on, throw a risk reward on, and target lines. Put it all on and see what it looks like. Alright, so this is what the gold looks like. Let me just do this because I know that is kind of hard to see. These colors in here, they blend in. If you're not looking for them, they blend in. You know, in the original stuff that I did, it was a little easier to see those arrows because they looked like this. They looked like these things down here, these big triangles. So it was a little easier to see them then, but they didn't move with price the way that I wanted them to. But see, this is what it looks like here, with the gold today. And remember, your stop is not going to be just 8 ticks or 10 ticks. Your stop in this is going to be the prior swing high. All right, not the prior swing high, the prior bar high. For the shorts, it'll be the prior bar high for the shorts. And for the longs, it'll be the prior bar low. All right. Okay, that's what your stop is going to be. Okay, so I would still use the range bars, and you can see this is just random. I didn't prepare this ahead of time. It's just really good with whatever you put it on. Okay. And I suppose let me take a second here and show you guys before anybody steps away. To get started with this, I go here to the home page here at my trading IQ. No, I'm sorry, Target View Trades at Target View Trades. I go here. I got to remove this part here. I go here to Target View Trades and just scroll down to the bottom. I want to show you a couple other things too. All right, right here is where you get started. I'm having a trial with this right now. Normally I don't even have a trial. It's only $25 a week, so it's not a ton of money to get started. Start the free trial right here. All right, hit subscribe now. Start the free trial right there. You need to give me your TradingView login ID. All right, when you do this, you got to go through the subscription thing. It's a pretty quick thing. It goes through Stripe. And it's a pretty quick thing, and when it's done, it sends you an email that says, okay, now go here and click this, and that will bring you to another form that says, give me your login ID. And you need to do that because you can't get it set up if you don't do that. All right, I can't get you set up if you don't do that. All right, I'm down to 7 minutes here, so I showed you multiple markets. I went through the website stuff, how to set up an alert, explain options within settings. I did that. Showed the different arrow colors, multiple markets. I did all that. All right. So before I forget to say it, because you know how I am, they're going to limit me, so I have to kind of go through this kind of mechanically. It's not the normal type of thing that I do where I do the training and mentoring. I'm available by email through this. You can email support@targetviewtrades.com. All right. And I'll reply to you through that. And, most of you guys, you have me on your phones and you can text me questions. But if you don't, I'm not going to be doing meetings every day with this and stuff. This is something that I want to do in the future. I want to get everybody set up with it so that you're all using it, you're all successful with it. And you don't need to ask any questions because there's really not that much to it. So go out here and take the free trial if you want to. Now there was one other thing I wanted to show you. This is something that I showed earlier. I showed it in in the morning session at one point, or in the afternoon session or something like that. But if you just want to trade a stock, you can go here. I got this on the website, get precise entries for any stock, and you go in here and click on technical rating, and you have all these strong buys that are lined up in here. What I like to do is I go in here and I put a filter on earnings, not this week, but I look at earnings like maybe next week, right? Next week. And so it's going to filter based on earnings next week, and I want to have something that's got some pretty good volume. Make it have 1 million contracts a day or 1 million shares a day in volume. Okay, and then hit the strong buy rating, or in the strong sell or buy, whatever. But for stocks, you're going to be looking at buys and find things like Walmart's coming out with earnings. So what you can do is take Walmart, right? Take that symbol WMT and come here to your TV trades and just throw it in here and do WMT and turn it on and put it on like a 30-minute. And this is something else, Tanya, I think you had asked a few minutes ago. I want to show you something else. Well, thank you. Tanya said it looks really easy. That's good. That's the idea, is to make it look really easy. To make it really easy out, I mean, overall anyway. In here, I have this on, and I have the bias on. I don't want that on. We can have the risk reward. We'll say okay to this. All right, so you come in here and you're expecting to have earnings next week, right? So you get in here and you get everything set up. So you have your indication before the earnings come out. You have an indication of where to buy and whatnot. Like it gave a long trade right here, and this was on the 2nd. It gave a long opportunity back here. And earnings are coming out next week. The earnings, so far the earnings have been pretty bad. The earnings that have been coming out. So I don't know how this is going to work out for the earnings. But I mean, from here, 59.55, it's already run up to 60. So it's 10% gain since last week when it gave the last indication right here for a long. This time here was Wednesday, the 24th of April. It gave a long back here at 59.41, and it ran up again. See that? This seems to be up to 60, so it's a $5 run. It seems to do over and over again here. It looks like. But that was just something I wanted to show you. If you wanted to find stuff, if you wanted to find stuff to trade, you can just go in here and do what I just showed you. Click on technical rating, find stuff, go in here and filter it out some. So you have stuff that's gonna have some volume in it, and you could go to stuff that you can afford to buy. If you're going to buy the actual stock, go to stuff that you can afford to buy. Whether it's $34 or $11 or $60. If you can buy 100 shares or 200 shares, like this went up $5 each time. If you had 100 shares of that, it's $500 each time. And that was in the last 2 weeks. Just want to show you how you can use it for equities as well. And yeah. So that's it. I'm going to have to wrap this up, guys. I have 3.5 minutes left. So let me just... Tanya, there was one other thing I wanted to show you. When it comes to picking the time frames, okay, like in here it's like $60, but if you were looking at a stock, like let's look at NVDA. All right, now I love range bars because range bars just give you so much more information. But you can't have NVIDIA on like a 10 range, right? The way range bars work, when you're dealing with stocks, each tick is a cent. So a 50 range is a 50-cent bar. So every bar in here is 50 cents. That's not really enough for NVIDIA because it's a $900 stock. So you might want to do 100, where every bar is $1. Okay, so every bar is $1 in here. So, you buy in here at 900 and your risk is $1.78. And this, the risk reward on this one isn't that great because the first target is pretty close. But the next target is a long way away from that first target. So, once you get through that first target, which it's doing right now, that next target is a long way away. It's way up here. This next target. So you got to take all those things into consideration. Okay, that's how I look at it when I'm looking at equities, because I do like to use range bars all the time. Even on equities, I like to use range bars. That's how I look at it. I look at it like it's a dollar thing. If it's below $100, you might want to use a 25 range, where each bar is a quarter. Now, if it's below $50, you might want to use a 10 range, where each bar is a dime. Okay, that's how I determine all that stuff when I do it. And I think that's going to be it, guys. I'm going to have to wrap this up. I have 1 minute and 36 seconds left. So if you guys have any more questions for me, then throw them in there right now, and I'll answer them. Yeah, try easy things first. That's probably a good idea, Tanya. For everybody, I mean, don't complicate it. Really, don't complicate it. You don't have to put all kinds of indicators all over this. You don't have to do that. What I was saying in the beginning about that moving average, you don't have to actually put the moving average on the chart. You have one in here that you can use your bias level. It's going to get rid of the stuff that's not with the trend. Based on that trend level that you suggest, it's going to get rid of the stuff that's not with the trend. You don't have to see it. You don't have to make those judgment calls when it's really close. All right, you don't have to see it. Just let the math do the math, and you just make, it says, predict, perform, prosper. So you set the terms about when it's going to predict, and then it does predict, and then you have to perform, and then you get to prosper. That's what it says right here. Somewhere it says predict, perform, prosper right there. Predict, perform, prosper. All right. Yeah, I know it says it somewhere. Here it is. Predict, perform, and prosper. So you set the terms for the prediction, then you have to perform when it says to, and then you prosper. All right. And that's it, guys. If you have any more questions, you can email support@targetviewtrades.com. You can also text me, or you know me on Telegram and all that stuff. You guys know how to get a hold of me. All right. I want to thank everybody that came today. It did not. All right. I ran out of time. Thanks everybody that came today, and I don't know if it's still recording or not, but if it is, hopefully it's all good. All right. We'll see you all later.